and good day. Today is another episode of Justified Jewel Podcast, and I'm your host. This is Joanne Cox, and you can find me on different sites, all social media, but of course, I'm a speaker and life coach. You can find me at justifieddjewel.com, as well as my coaching area that you can please take the opportunity to come into. But right here today on Justified Jewel Podcast, as usual, we cover many topics. We go from spirituality to physical, emotional, mental, and just plain well-being. The purpose of this is to have a platform to edify others and bring others to a greater knowledge of self-awareness as to who they are, even though we're covering different topics. But today's topic will be momentum. So our guest for today is the one and only Ciera Thompson. Welcome today, Ciera.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, and we're just going to get right off, and I want her to tell you a little bit more about who she is and what she represents. What is it that you do, Ciera?
So I do many things. One, I am a crisis counselor for a company called Rainbow Telehealth Van, and I provide crisis counseling to refugees and immigrants. Part-time, I participate in organizing programs for swim lessons, and I teach swim lessons on Tuesdays and Thursdays at Fort Liberty. And mostly during my free time or any other time I may have available, I am working on my dissertation. I am a doctoral candidate for counselor education and supervision at Capella University.
Wow, that says a lot, Ciera. So you're just all over the place doing great things in different areas of your life. So I know that we're going to get a lot out of this interview today. So as usual, I hope you have paper and pen because you're going to get something out of this. And my first question to really dig into, you define your definition of momentum.
Momentum. So with momentum, I think of it as like a moving object, a moving body, right? However, there's many things that may take place in your momentum. In Webster's definition, there's mass and velocity. In my definition, momentum, it's like a soul train or skating. You are going through life situations, challenges, maybe a windstorm, and you realize is that you yourself and I are on this path to fulfill a purpose, right? And so I look at momentum as a way to make the choice to grow and evolve and keep going, and instead of remaining stagnant and lost in chaos or within the storm.
Yes. I totally agree with that. And we can see how momentum will work in different areas of our life. So the following up of just that definition of momentum, how can we create it? How do you create momentum?
Well, first you start with you. Most importantly, it's very important to have that me time. So time to yourself at least 30 minutes. That's where you can start with the blueprint. With there, you write down what is it that things that make you happy, certain activities that get you up in the morning out of the bed. Yes. And so, as I first met you at Toastmasters, in my first introduction speech, I discussed music, how music helped me keep going. And through scientific terms, I like to look at it as you are still figuring out yourself. You grow and you learn through lessons, but you can take that and you can transform it and you can make it into something meaningful. And that alone can just give you a boost of energy. And so with some past experiences that I have evolved, I had to realize that if I want to be an entrepreneur, it's a daily task. It's a daily momentum. It's a daily movement. And so you have to find joy in that. Joy gets us moving. And so it's just finding your joy, your happy place, I would say. And it starts with what it is that you want.
Yes. And I can agree with that too, because what I'm hearing you say is in order for us to even create it, we have to have a priority and an interest in that we want to do. And it starts with ourselves. And in doing that, once you do that, I'm understanding that now you're going to form some rituals, because now you've got, as an entrepreneur, you've got to get those things in motion. And if music is your answer, then that is going to create that momentum to get you started. But okay, we know that there are a lot of people that say, and especially entrepreneurs, they say that this is what I'm interested in, and they go out the gate flying, and they're just charged and ready to go. And they know what they want to do. But then it comes out of the gate in a wonderful, fabulous way. But now, how are we going to sustain that? What are the key elements to sustain it?
That's actually a great question. In my speech, as well as I spoke with at Toastmasters last Wednesday, there was a moment when I spoke that sometimes we get caught up in going forward, and that we don't tend to stop, think, and self-check with ourselves. And that can cause us to keep going, and eventually sometimes lead to burnout, or it can lead to what I call cognitive self-bias. And I just say that because it's more so of, yes, we may have momentum to keep going, but what happens when there's a brick in the road? What happens when something is unexpected? What happens when the outcome didn't come out as planned? You know, what's the next step? What is going to keep you focused in your vision living? I say living. Yes. And that's one of the hardest lessons I had to learn. And I lost a friend due to that, because, you know, when you imagine yourself creating a business, you have all these big ideas, and writing them down on paper, but there's just some information that you still have to learn. And that is learning that you have to take the process slow and steady. So to keep yourself sustained, it starts with you and your wellness. It starts with that momentum, your reason, your logic for getting up every morning, your reason for the vision and the dream. What is that deep down inside desire that you have? And that's what you have to focus with. And that's how you incorporate your rituals, your daily rituals. And so with me, I pray every morning. And then I pray before I get ready to relax and take a shower and calm down. You know, and that's just so that anything that I'm thinking or I'm holding within, I know I have to release that energy. And so it's knowing that I can pray and meditate is my best way of expressing some of the energy that I'm endured. Especially, you know, if you know you are a sensitive person and you show empathy, we have to be very careful, especially as counselors and therapists. Secondly, I like to participate in community events. So there's a group called Healing Journey. And there's these two spiritual ladies. One is called Queen Wheeler, and the other one is called, we call her Auntie J. She lives in the United Kingdom. So she meets with a group of women once a month, and we discuss, you know, what it is that we are feeling deep down inside. Anything, it could be related to trauma that's causing those stagnant thoughts, your day-to-day action. You know, what are you doing to making sure that you're expanding on your craft? What is it doing that you are learning from lessons and growing spiritual wise? And so it's like you have to incorporate all this and make it like a daily safety plan, or a guideline, or a guidebook is what I call it. And with that stability, most importantly, is you need to find your support group, someone that's going to listen without any judgment. And, you know, in that case, that's when we refer to a counselor or therapist. But other than that, like a close family member or a close friend that just wants to hear you vent and just support you, you know, just to release that. I feel like that is also very important, and that helps you maintain that balance and that stability. Because dreams are not easy. Goals are not easy as well. Visions are not easy. And with me, if I would like to share, I have been diagnosed with ADHD 5 years ago. And it's been rough, but it helped me become aware of what it is I need to do to make sure I stay on track. And
Mm-hmm.
so I take my iPad wherever I go, because I have a planner on here that can be on my iPad, my computer, and my phone. And whenever I need to write something or remember something, it's right there and I have straight access to it. So it's like figuring out the best methods in your system that will help you stabilize and
That's
balance to achieve the goal, the outcome of the business plan.
wow. You said so much in that, and that is what we all need. So if you see me looking down, I suggest that you take notes, because that is exactly what I'm doing. Because my favorite quote is, knowledge is what you know. Wisdom is what you do with what you know. And most of us have that intellect and we know what we want to do. But that thing of staying focused is the main thing. And what I heard Ciera say is that there are going to be some challenges to come up. And what you're going to do is concentrate on the end results. Because when you know where you want to go and you know the goal, then you've got to bring that back up front. And because of her rituals of her prayer life every morning, and then understanding that those challenges are going to come in and how she's going to handle them, and the ending of a day, then to reflect on those things and then understand that now she can clear that out and be afresh. And without all of those things being in place, we have a tendency to sort of go all over the place. Then we can become discouraged in that. But just knowing that, and I, as an entrepreneur myself, we and I myself get off track. But as long as you know you're off track, because some of us don't even know that we got off. So once you know you're off track, now you have the tools to put everything in place and say, okay, I fell off. Let me get back up. And now, what are my rituals and what is my end result? And what are the things that are going to get me there? And that is so great, because we have to have it forefront. And we miss that sometimes. We have it and we don't. And we've been talking a lot about business, and I want to bring up that she talked about Toastmasters. I am a member of Toastmasters, wonderful organization for communication and leadership skills. And that is where I met Ciera. And she's bringing a lot of that forth because of some of the things that she talked about in our last session. So when you hear her say, when I spoke last, that is what she's talking about. Now, we've talked a lot about business. I want to turn that and start talking about the momentum in our everyday life. Now, Ciera, how does that affect our everyday life? And is it necessary that we even have a momentum just to get through our everyday life?
Honestly, the momentum is just waking up and being thankful that that you're here, a new day, to to finish what you started, to recreate any mistakes that you believe you have made, to reconnect with individuals. So I feel like that alone is momentum. However, the most simplest statement and meaning, but it's so broad, so complex, is enjoying the process. That's the momentum, enjoying what it is that you do every day. Whether it's, spending time and then going to work and coming back, whether it's going out on mission trips and helping individuals with humanitarian projects, or whether it's getting up and making business, sharing on YouTube, recording. Anything is art and creativity. That alone is helpful in enjoying the process. And that's what I'm starting to see a lot in entrepreneurship, is entrepreneurs are bringing their creativity, the intuitive creativity, to what it is that they bring to business. For instance, so I love video games. And I love art. And there's this company in Raleigh that make customized controllers. Any cartoon, any statement you can make, and just place it right on there, and you can just have it right there on your hand. So, I don't have a custom made one, but I have like a blue controller, and the color alone means something to me. And so it's nice to see that color in a lot of things that I enjoy doing. And I know it's kind of scientific and different, but it relates to color psychology. And blue is more so of the intellectual side of expression. And so with the blue is my way of expressing myself and being confident in who I am. And so that's why I feel like creativity is going to be the new way forward with momentum, because it's still so much going on in this world.
Yes.
And you have to make meaning out of something, and just bringing your creative thoughts into this reality alone is beautiful, you know. And so that's what I think. And then most importantly, just grace, that amazing grace.
Grace. We must have grace and we must have mercy. And with all of that being said, there's a phrase that says the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And I find that to be true in some cases with a like-minded type of person, people that know where they want to go. There are some people that are simply just floating through life. But when you get together and you're with like-minded people, whatever you're usually doing in business is the way you're going to sort of control your personal life as well. And that's what I heard you connecting on. You started to talk about what you enjoy. And then when you're enjoying that, you're doing the same thing. You're still, waking up and being thankful and being grateful for another day. And doing that, you like the gaming. And so in that, you're already thinking about the creativity of it. And sometimes we don't think about the creativity of it because of the fact that this is just something I like to do. But because of your business side and what your backing is with the psychology field and minded, you're thinking about the blue and you're bringing that all to the surface. So I want people to actually understand and dig into what you're saying, because it can seem very surface and on the top, but it's some meaning behind all of the things that you're doing. And when we get down or depressed, we didn't even realize that we were maybe sitting in the dark, or maybe everything around us is the wrong color for us. But your creativity is that blue. And my colors, I love pink and I love green. And my complete office is a beautiful mint green, but that means something to me. Mm-hmm. So viewers, tap into this type of thinking, because I'm understanding that this new wave is simply not new, but we're now bringing it to other people. And that is what this podcast is about. But we're wanting to touch and reach other people so that we can let them know how to live life abundantly and to be in a joyful space. Now, those are just the basic things that I wanted to ask you, but I want to dig in now to some of the things that you do for work. And I know that you are a videographer as well. So tell me about how that works for you in networking with people, as well as what does a videographer do? And it sounds surface, but go ahead and tell the people.
Okay. So videography is and photography is a very broad category and job placement, but depending on your creativity and depending on the field that you would like to go in, it can go into many different fields. So the field I am originally in is business. So I would network with small businesses, event planners, and educators as well. And I would advertise, hey, you have this event coming up. I can take pictures for you and you can, showcase it on your social media. And so what I do is I actually just help promote small businesses and individuals, their business, their creative events. And then I also may take pictures of birthday parties, graduations, weddings, any other event that is local wise. I will actually take pictures of that for the family. and provide them pictures for that they can put in the scrapbook. So I'm very versatile, and I have traveled to many places, including Virginia, and South Carolina, and of course in a few cities here in North Carolina. So it's very local and it's new. However, I am trying to network as many companies here in Fayetteville as well. And so there's a magazine actually called Faye NC magazine. Sometimes you may see some video projects or any other creative projects that's coming up in the local community, and I participate in some of those projects as well.
Great, great. I'm happy to hear that, and I would love to work with you in the very close future, very close future.
All right.
And of course, I mentioned earlier that I can be found on most media sites, but especially YouTube and Spotify. I also have a Facebook and a community group that's called Today's Innovator. And of course, Ciera fits in very well with Today's Innovator. So what we want to do is spread the word and get her name out there. But this is the end. Can you believe we've been here for like 20 minutes? But before we end this, she's going to tell us how to get in contact with her. Let them know, Ciera.
Okay, you can find me on Instagram. That's Ciera, CIERA Productions, with the @ symbol. I'm on Instagram currently right now, and I will have a YouTube coming soon, but for right now, I'm just starting out on Instagram.
That
Ciera,
sounds, go ahead.
CIERA Productions.
That's all we need to know. We just need to know how to get in contact with you, because you've been a wonderful guest. I've enjoyed it. I do have my paper in front of you. So if you did not get something, understand that you can always play this back so that you can get the information and, of course, be able to communicate with Ciera, because she's doing great things. And with her work, when people have that spirituality, it comes out in their work. So that makes the productions even better, even better. So again, stay tuned for Justified Jewel podcast continuously in the future. But this is for the month of July. So every Tuesday, you will be seeing a different guest on the topic of momentum, talking about it in their own personal way. Again, thank you, Ciera, for being my guest.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll be seeing you later.
All righty.